Welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to take a super fascinating, high-energy look at how we use and, let's be honest, sometimes completely abuse our language. So get ready, because we're pulling apart a linguistic concept that I guarantee you've encountered, even if you didn't quite have the exact label for it just yet. I mean, have you ever sat there, maybe you're in a meeting, a long lecture, or even trapped at a dinner party, just listening to someone use these enormous, endlessly fancy words purely to sound impressive? You're kind of nodding along, but you quickly realize they're feeding you this massive word salad to say absolutely, well, very little. It's a totally universal frustration, isn't it? Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Meet grandiloquence, the art of showy talk. First things first, let's get the actual mechanics down. This word has exactly 4 distinct syllables. It's pronounced grandiloquens. Go ahead and say it out loud with me, wherever you are right now. Grandiloquens. Right, grandiloquens. It's actually incredibly helpful to get that auditory anchoring right, so you can spot it in the wild and speak it with absolute confidence. So what is it exactly? Well, grandiloquence is a noun, a word for a thing, and it literally means speech that is pretentious, pompous, or just excessively fancy. The single beating center of this word is showy talk. It's language that's been artificially puffed up to seem super grand and important. But here's the core issue with it. When someone uses grandiloquence, the grandeur is entirely in the style, not the substance. And rather than actually impressing the listener, it almost always just completely tires them out. Moving right along to Section 2. The roots of showy speech, dissecting the word. Now, what's really interesting about this is the etymology. It's like a giant puzzle. It contains the ancient Latin root loquo, which simply translates to speak. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same root you'd find in related words like eloquent or loquacious. So you take loquo and you pair it with grand, meaning big. And what do you get? You get grand speaking. Big, showy talk. It perfectly builds the entire concept right out of its historical building blocks. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds. Grandiloquence in the wild. Hearing it in context. Listen to this first example here. His grandiloquence wearied the audience and made him seem self-important. This perfectly captures that exact exhausting effect we were just talking about. Puffed up language doesn't win a crowd over. It wearies them. When someone relies heavily on grandiloquence, they end up looking incredibly self-important rather than, highly intelligent. Or consider this example. The politician's speech was full of grandiloquence but short on real ideas. Now, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, this is pretty much a universal truth about how public speaking works. Sometimes rhetoric is swollen far past the point of usefulness, specifically to hide a complete lack of real substance. It kind of acts as a shield against having actual, actionable ideas. And finally, consider how it masks the truth. Beneath all that grandiloquence, the message was actually quite simple. This is such a vital takeaway for us. If you take the time to strip away all those excessively fancy words, you almost always reveal a very basic, very simple underlying message that was just trying to get out. So the crucial point really comes down to a clear contrast. Grandiloquence is pompous, swollen rhetoric. And you gotta remember, it is absolutely never used as a compliment. Its true opposite is just plain, clear speaking. Bringing us to Section 4, the Grandiloquence Challenge. Try it yourself. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept. Let's play a quick, highly interactive game to completely cement this understanding in your brain before we finish up. Consider a perfectly clear, plain sentence. I'm hungry. Now your challenge is to mentally rewrite that into the most pompous, excessively fancy statement you can possibly think of. Go ahead, make it grand. Maybe you came up with something like, my physical vessel currently requires immediate caloric sustenance to stave off an impending sense of severe malnourishment. Now tell me honestly, did your excessively fancy version say absolutely anything more than I'm hungry? No way. It says literally no more than the plain one. Let's lock this all in. Grandiloquence is simply pompous, showy speech. The grandeur is entirely in the style, and definitely not the substance. Which leaves us with a final thought to consider for the next time you find yourself trying to impress an audience. If the fundamental goal of language is to connect and be understood, does artificially inflating our words with grandiloquence ever actually serve us? Or does plain, clear communication always win the day? Definitely think about that next time you're served a massive word salad. Thank you so much for being a focused learner with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.